Hello, I'm Clive Gidney from clivegidneyphotography.com, Photography Made Simple. And here we are in lockdown again because of the coronavirus, so I thought we'll just have a bit of a chat about what we can do. You'll remember the first time round back last March when we went into lockdown, everybody was scrambling for macro lenses and there wasn't a second-hand one to be had for love nor money. But we were all doing things like this. So there was desktop photography and we were experimenting with raindrops in dandelion seeds. We were doing flowers in bars of water to create a reflection. We were doing stacking. This was done with Helicon Focus, and this was another stacking photo, which is a CD with raindrops squirted on it. So that was the sort of thing we were doing in lockdown the first time round. And I was out for my daily walk the other day in the park. I'm thinking, what can we do this time round? And I was looking around and there were people sitting there having socially distanced chats on benches. There were kids splashing in puddles. There were people walking in their dogs. And I thought, what a great project, people in the park. So that's what I decided to do. And I went home and I thought about how am I going to go about this? And I thought the first thing I want to be able to do is offer the people, I want to talk to the people. It's not like street photography where you're capturing candid photos. This was, I actually want to go and talk to the people. I want to engage with them, find out a bit about them. And I want to give them a chance to download the photos as a thank you for letting them, for letting me take their photo. So the first thing I did was I created some business cards. I have some business cards anyway, but is a shot of my business card. You can create these, print them up at home yourself. I actually have this as my professional portrait photography website, and I'll put a link in the description down below to a template you can use to create some business cards in Word and print them off at home on some suitable card. The other thing that I do is I create some sticky labels. I use Avery J8160 labels and I stick those on the back. So there's a link to my website, and I'll come on to this in a minute, for the gallery where I'm going to put them. There's a password there which just gives people a little bit more security, particularly if you're taking photographs of families with children, telling them how to download and any terms and conditions you want to put on it. Just going back to the business card a second, I always put my address, my email, my website and my phone number on it. Again, that gives you a little bit more credibility when you're out and about. So having done that, you then need somewhere where you can put your photos. I've got a website and I can create a gallery on there, but you can create a page on Facebook where people can go and see them. You can't password protect that, obviously, or you can create a simple website on something like Wix or Squarespace. So then it's a question of what settings are we going to use. Now I use two lenses when I'm out doing this. I shoot on Micro Four Thirds. So the main lens I use is a 12-60, which in full frame terms is 24-120. Most full frame cameras will have 24-105. If you're using a crop sensor, something like 24-70 would be ideal. The other lens I use is if I'm shooting dogs, particularly without their owners that are sort of careering around the park, then I use a 50-200, which in full frames terms is a 100-400, but a 70-200 will work well, a 70-300 will work well. So the sort of images that I was creating, and I try very much to engage with people, as I said before. So I'll go up to them and I'll say, you know, I say I'm a local photographer, I'm doing a lockdown project on people in the park, is it okay if I take your photos? So these aren't candid photos like we would do in street photography. I'm engaging with the subject, and here I got the lady to sort of put the ball down, talk to a dog there. And the settings that I use, I tend to, for animal photos, when they're moving around, you want a shutter speed of at least 1,000th. For kids, you can probably get away with a 500th or even a bit slower. So you either want to be shooting in shutter priority mode, or I tend to shoot in manual mode. So I fix my shutter speed at, let's say, 1,000th. I'll open my ends up as wide as it'll go because I want to blur the background, and then I use auto ISO. So the camera will choose the ISO for me to get the settings right. And I set my ISO limit on my camera to 3200. That's about as high as I'd want to go with a Micro Four Thirds camera. If you're shooting APS-C, you can probably go to 6400. If you're shooting full frame, you can probably go to 12,800 or even a bit higher. And as I say, it's just about engaging with the people, talking to them. This dog was called Charlie, for example. He's a rescue dog, and it's nice to find out a bit about the people. It makes your job more fun while you're out there. This was a lady here, her dog was called Haig. As you can see, he's got a sort of toffee colour in his fur, in his ears, and it was more on the back there, and he was named after Haig Whiskey. Another dog here, and again, if you talk to people, they will work with you. You know, this dog was called Luna. The lady threw the stick for him. He went down to look for the stick, and now here I've swapped to my long lens so I can get in really tight. You can see we've got a shallow depth of field there to get in close on the dog. But also change your point of view. Here I got down on one knee because we've got quite small dogs there. It makes the guy, and it's quite a dramatic thing. He's got a really big guy there, a couple of little dogs, and I just thought that made quite a nice picture. But also sometimes people will get down and talk to their dogs for you. And you know, most people, I've had very few people say, no, I don't want my picture taken. I did have one lady who said she'd got 3 kids with scooters, and I said, can we take the family photo? And she said, as long as it's the backs of the children. And I said, that's not really what I want, but that's absolutely fine. Don't take it personally. I don't know, they might have, you know, an absentee, abusive father, for example, and they don't want their pictures online. Don't take it personally. Just move on and go and find somewhere else. And most people, as I say, the last couple of days, I've only had that one lady say, no thanks. Here again, I've swapped to a longer lens to get these two when they're careering around. And by all means, when you go out first, it's probably easier with people with dogs. It's somehow, I find it easy to go up and say, can I take a picture of your dogs and you? Once you get a bit more confidence, you know, you can get shots like this, 3 girls sitting having a bacon sandwich. This was the other morning, and you know, just a nice, happy photograph. Again, with parents and children, you know, go and talk to them. This lady, she was walking out, she was coming back towards her car, and the little one was getting a little bit grizzly, and I stopped her and had a chat, and actually she said afterwards, thank you very much. You know, it stopped him crying, gave him a bit of interest. He still doesn't look particularly happy there, does he? But there we go. And sometimes you'll find people on their own. They're quite happy to be photographed. Another bloke having a sandwich just sat on a bench there. Again, if you've got mothers with children, this was a nice shot, got her to crouch down by the pram. If you want some environmental shots of them sort of walking along with the prams, do this shot first, engage them. If you take the long shot and then go and talk to them, you come across as a bit of a creep. So take that shot first, and then you can switch back to the long shot, explain what you're doing, tell them you want them walking up the path, and there you go. So that's what I've been doing the last few days. It's an interesting project. Some days we get snow, sometimes we get sunshine. I'm waiting for some rainy days so I can get kids jumping in the puddles, and that'll all be good fun. But have a bit of fun with that, or alternatively, let me know in the comments down below what you're doing in lockdown. I look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.